Feeble Talk. This is Feeble Talk episode 1, season 2, episode 1. Sorry for that month hiatus that turned into like a 13-month hiatus. We slipped up there for a little bit, but we're trying to make up for it by having Mr. Chris Doyle. So welcome. You have to talk now.
Thank you. I've been waiting for the invite for a long time, seeing how I'm the actual opening.
Yes,
and all the Feeble Talks, right?
That is true. You just saw Doyle. Let's play the raw clip from, it was your ender in Safety First?
Yeah, the accidental ender. And if I hadn't slipped that pedal, it would have definitely been the ender. But I slipped the pedal, and Jason Owens was freaking out. He was stoked.
One of the things that I always think is funny is that how much everybody freaked out the first time when you went back and actually did it. Everybody's like,
yeah.
So we get comments pretty much every episode, like, what's up with the intro? I'm like, thank you for being a part of Feeble Talk every single episode.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, that was, like I said, that was probably one of the scariest moments of my life, like feeling that front wheel was a little too high, and I thought my front wheel was actually going to miss, but then it actually connects with the rail, and it was great when I was like, oh my God, I'm actually landing in a feeble, and then I slipped that pedal.
We talked about actually switching up the intro for like season 2. Like I have a couple of intros that I made in the very beginning, and studio guys said no, they like it too much.
That's great. Yeah.
So you can thank them for that.
Thank Jason Owens, really.
Thank Jason
for
Owens.
The reaction.
Shout out to Jason Owens. Jason Owens needs a bike.
Oh, okay.
If anybody in here, maybe Calvin, maybe you, have a bike.
Yeah.
He needs
Jason,
a bike.
give me a call, man.
So let's choose a background.
Okay.
Ceremonious background choice. Yet again, very late night, very early morning choices here. You and Bennett.
And Mike Cesny, too.
And Cesny. Cesny looks like he has buck teeth in that. What else we got? Cowtail whips.
Cowtail whip, all right.
Keep going. Cyclotherm quick. Dancing Doyle.
Okay. Oh, me and Isaac.
I like that one because usually it's photos of people wearing you on their t-shirt, so I figured that was actually Mr. Glenn Johnson.
Glenn Johnson, wow.
Your cousin, correct? Is that your cousin? Who is it?
Me and Glenn are not related.
Oh.
But Glenn is like a living legend in Western Pennsylvania.
Who was the dude that had the full video with? It was Glenn, right?
No, you're thinking of Roger Sullivan.
My bad.
Check your notes.
Really
man.
blew that one. The elusive backflip.
Shirtless backflip.
Shirtless backflip with Christian filming.
Oh,
and
wow.
You and Ryan Barrett. Like I said, I stalked your Facebook.
You did. So, you really did.
I really
That's
went
a
through.
good photo. That's one of my most cherished photos of all time.
That's
being. Well, that's a good one too, of course.
Is that it? Is that 2 more? Oh God, I really went in. Is this funny? I honestly have no idea if that's funny or not.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of funny.
Keep going then. And then a no-footed seat grab bar spin or something.
I was 12 years old in that photo.
Style hasn't changed, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
So I get to pick the background that I think is best. I like the one with me and Ryan Barrett.
What was that, 7? Hey, good.
Like I said, that's one of my most cherished photos. Ryan's dad shot that. And that was like one of the first times where it was really me and Ryan hanging out one-on-one. And I had just spent 2 weeks laying on my back because I'd bruised my kidney. And like the day I was like cleared to go riding again, Ryan called me. He was like, hey, my dad's going to bring us to Hoax, which was this place in Garner, North Carolina. And I'd never been. I hadn't ridden a bike in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I want to go. I want to go so bad. Like, so they came and picked me up and took me to this spot to ride. And that's like probably one of the first times me and him, like, it was just us two riding, and his dad was shooting photos and video.
That's it's kind of something we were talking earlier. So like the Gary and me photo, like that's like it's like you have it. Do you have the actual print of it, or is it?
I don't.
Oh, you
it
don't?
only exists like on my phone or on the computer. Yeah, I think his dad has like the actual print.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll stick with that.
Okay.
Thank you for going through those painful moments of bad Photoshop.
Yeah,
So.
no problem.
Obviously, why you flew in to make this whole thing happen is the recent incident. So part of that is we brought in Calvin, who's played a heroic role in that. So let's have Calvin come and sit down with us now. Is your phone on silent? Is your phone on silent?
Hey guys, what's happening?
Well, I'm glad that me and Calvin were able to talk before we got on camera, so it's not like you said the Maury Povich thing, like, let's bring in Calvin.
Yeah, that firefighter saved me from that building.
just out of
I just want to thank him.
Yeah.
And then he was like, well, I got him. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I told you when I picked you up, my only goal is to not cry. So, you're a good friend of mine, so seeing the whole thing was pretty rough, but you're here, you're healthy. Somebody hit you in the head with an oven the other day. So you do have a little wound on your eye, but you're good.
Everyone's been treating me like I'm made of glass lately.
Yeah.
So no one will let me do anything, and then now I'm finally getting to be active again, and I'm helping my brother-in-law move a stove, and he accidentally, he slips getting out of the truck and grabs onto the handle, and the handle hits me right in the face, and he was ready to cry. He's like, I'm so sorry. But yeah, now I have a cut near my eye again. I was always hurting myself.
Yeah, I mean, even when I texted you, I was like, I don't know if you're cleared to fly. I don't know what, I honestly don't know your condition, but I'm just throwing this out here. Like, it would be really cool if you could come out and do the show. I just think it would be cool for getting the entire story out. I think, us bringing back this show, I think it's just works out, honestly. Yeah. So I'm glad Calvin, we coordinated, and brought everybody in. So, obviously, I'm not going to HCM, I think is what you said it was.
HCM is short for hypertrophic cardiomyopathy. Mm-hmm. And do you want me to go into the medical explanation of what that is?
Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what HCM is it's a thickening of the heart walls, and it primarily targets the left ventricle of your heart. As you know, we have the 4 main chambers: right and left atrium, right and left ventricle. So what happens is the walls around the left ventricle become thicker, not swollen, but
or brittle, but
almost more muscular.
Okay.
A lot of people will call this condition an enlarged heart.
Okay. I have heard of that.
Yeah. So what happened in my case is right near the your left ventricle's main responsibility is to pump blood and oxygen to the rest of your body. Mm-hmm. So you're constantly pulling blood in and then pumping it right back out, and that's what we're all doing right now. So what happened was my heart became too thick at the outflow tract. Mm-hmm. And it became so thick that it pushed the mitral valve into the septum. The septum runs right down the center of your heart, and it creates a blockage. So there's all this blood coming in, but nothing's able to get out. And my heart's working overtime to push this blood out.
Yeah.
And nothing's getting out. So no blood or oxygen's going to the rest of my body. And
so then it just gives up. It overheats in a sense.
Well, so there's no oxygen going to my brain. So that's when I pass out, I collapse. And shortly after that, my heart is so full of blood at this point, the pressure's building, and it's working so hard to get that blood out that it eventually just gives up. Mm. And
so, rewinding a little bit, was that? And sorry to interrupt you.
Sorry.
As a joke from earlier, sorry. That this is something you knew you had. At what age did you find out that you had HCM?
I've known about this condition since I was about 18 years old.
Okay. And how'd you find out?
Just randomly through my primary care physician. I went in for something totally unrelated. It could have, I think I was going in because I had a staph infection in my elbow, because I always had swellbow in the 90s. So,
a huge thing in the 90s.
So like most doctors do, they always listen to your heart. Mm-hmm. And I have a heart murmur, which is really loud and really obvious. And usually that's an indicator of something else in your heart going wrong. Okay. So he's like, you need to get this checked out. And I put it off for a long time. I put it off for about another 2 years before actually getting it checked out. I was getting these really weird heart rhythms. And again, I went in for something totally unrelated, different primary care physician. He's like, here's the name and number of a cardiologist. Call this guy, make an appointment. You need to do this.
This is serious,
ASAP.
yeah.
He's like, it could be something serious. It could be nothing at all. And that's when the cardiologist found that I have HCM.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, this is the number one cause of death for young active males.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard to hear, but he's like, we're gonna keep an eye on it. We're gonna keep monitoring you and make sure that heart, the muscle, the heart wall doesn't get any thicker.
Mm-hmm.
So every couple of months they would be taking different measurements, and I've been doing that now for 15 years,
Yeah,
like getting different measurements.
How old are you now? You're younger than I am. How old are you?
I'm 37.
37. We're the same age. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, 20 years of non-issue.
Right, of
essentially,
keeping
yeah.
track of it, and
Yeah.
it was always like, yeah, everything looks good.
Yeah.
There's
so
no
because I
asymmetry.
didn't know you had that. I don't know. Did anybody know you had it? Do you tell? I mean, it doesn't. Just hey, how
always
you doing? I got
known-
HCM. Like, it's
There's
not really.
like any heart condition. I mean, there's some people have severe cases. Some
Yeah.
people's aren't so severe.
Yeah.
I was always told mine wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
But when you factor in different things, it can get bad.
Yeah.
Like especially in Albuquerque, New Mexico,
I guess.
the elevation,
Yeah.
stress, dehydration.
Exertion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're riding all day that day.
Yeah,
You're
when-
riding hard.
A lot of different things can make that muscle a lot thicker.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what
So,
happened.
so I guess that's probably where because you don't remember anything. You don't remember the day. You don't remember before. You don't really remember after.
No, but people have. I have a lot of photos now
Yeah.
of the day that it happened, and I've been able to put together little bits and pieces that I can form some sort of memory of the trip. But as far as like blacking out and all that stuff, there was never a moment where I was like, "Oh my God," where like I felt
Yeah, a
pain.
movie thing or something.
Just instant, man. Yeah, it was bizarre.
So what were you guys doing, Calvin?
We were.
Or what was the day? It was a
were-
normal day, hot. It was hot and
It
hot out
wasn't
there.
too hot. I mean,
No?
it was. I mean, it's desert, so it's
Yeah.
sunny.
Yeah.
But a few days prior to that, like every day, you would be like, "Hey, Calvin, is it hard to breathe right now?" And I would be like, "I don't know, man. I smoke cigarettes. I couldn't really vouch for you on that." But like, I don't know if that had anything to do with it at all. But you definitely
Because
had.
Albuquerque
like,
has
you-
elevation
Yeah,
as
I think
well.
it's
So
2,500, or
Yeah.
maybe more.
I don't know.
But you definitely were saying that you brought it up at least two times before that, and I was like, I don't know, feels alright, So that was a bit alarming once the incident happened. Like I was thinking about that, I was like, maybe he was like having an issue, but we were just riding all day, having a good time, and Doyle was killing it. He was, we went to a ditch spot, and he was riding the ditch, blasted a wire turned down, excellent, invert. Daryl's got the footage, got some photos. It was fun, and went to another school. But the day before, you were trying that war out to whip, so you were like planning on going back there at the end of the day. So
Okay.
It was like this thing. You're like, oh, maybe I'll go back, maybe I won't. But we're lucky that we did. That was like the best thing we could have ever done because it was a mile away from the hospital, and like that was just like.
oh wow.
Yeah, it was like the best like scenario of the day ever. Like, Chad got a clip at this school. These people kicked us out because we had to leave. They're like, "Yo, get out of the school," and then that's when you made the decision. Let's drive across town. It was kind of like not out the way, but like far, to go try this war to whip again. You worked for about 45 minutes, and the sun went down, and then it was like, all right, let's pack up, go into the van, and then door just falls like out of nowhere, and like you fell into Travis, and like then you hit the car, and then you went down, and like that's where you split your head. And luckily, like the New Mexico University Hospital, is that the one?
Mm-hmm.
Was like a mile away. Like it couldn't have worked out any better if we stayed out where we were. Like, you know what I mean? It was
Yeah.
we were far out.
Yeah.
So, situation-wise, it's like super gnarly to talk about right now. But yeah, it was like perfect situation for like what went down.
Yeah.
But
So
yeah, it was yeah.
as I understand it, a couple of I think what I reread some of the statements. I think and it was Jay and Nathan both called 911.
yeah.
Daryl and Travis pedaled to a hospital. That
Yeah.
was probably that one you're talking about.
Yeah, it was
and
super
and
close.
you did CPR.
Yeah.
So you took
Yeah.
a class on CPR through work.
Through work, I was doing plumbing and gas fitting.
Mhm.
This is like a decade ago, that I did it.
Yeah.
So I was like, it wasn't something I've ever had to use, and it wasn't something that I didn't think about. I thought he was having a seizure.
Yeah.
So like my instinct was just like hold his head, make sure he's okay, try and wake him up, get him out of the situation. But that lasted for like 45 seconds to a minute, but within that time, like Jay and Nathan were on the phones. So they were already on the phone to 911. I think Jay got through.
Mm-hmm.
And by that time, you had completely stopped moving. And then your pulse was completely non-existent. It was just like, went from being like, a seizure vibe to now like, what the fuck is going on? It was like, it was so surreal. And it was such a quick time. Like it was like 45 seconds and Jay's like, what's going on? Because he's talking to the 911 operator. And basically they just said CPR right now.
Mm-hmm.
Don't even, like, there was nothing. And he's just like telling us the compression rate and just maintain that. Don't stop. Like, and that lasted for like 5 minutes. Like, and I didn't get your heart started, by the way.
Well, see, yeah.
I'm sorry, dude.
It's so gnarly.
Like, I didn't know, like, you know what I mean? I was just like, nothing was changing. And like, all I knew was just to keep the blood going, like just keep the compressions and when the fire department came, it was like a relief in a way because like I was like out of energy, dude. Like within that 5 minutes.
Yeah.
It was
5
so
minutes of
insane.
because you have to really push.
My
It's not. Yeah.
My legs were just melted. Like I couldn't even get up. I was just like jelly because you're just working. You're not even thinking. You're just going.
Besides just the normal panic that you're probably. I could have
Yeah,
that
there was-
situation, man.
Just like, dude, it was so gnarly. It's like, I'm so glad you're here.
I'm like fucking
So
shaking.
stoked that you're here. Like it was scary, man. It was, 5 minutes, your heart was already stopped, like completely stopped. And I got up and then the dudes took over and they were working on you for more than that, dude. Like they didn't have like, they had the machines out and they kept on trying for a while.
The first shock didn't work.
No, I think there was about 5 or 6 attempts, dude. And we didn't know anything. We just was just standing back and like, it was probably like a 20 minutes by the time you're in the ambulance. And then they come up to us and like, we have a pulse back. He's going to this hospital. That's all we can say. So we were like, what the hell? Like, we didn't know what to do. It was just so like, I just couldn't believe it, man. Like, and yeah, you weren't Doyle, you weren't Doyle on the floor. It was so scary. Like
The CPR doesn't, like you said, it doesn't start your heart again. But
Yeah, it keeps the blood flowing, so it's
that keeps your shit circulating.
yeah,
And-
because the brain without oxygen.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I mean.
But I don't know. I told Calvin earlier, like I think about you like once, twice a day at
likewise,
least.
dude.
Because if Calvin doesn't do that CPR,
there was no
my wife doesn't get her husband.
No, I know.
My daughter doesn't get her dad. Like I don't know. I seriously like. There's nothing I'll ever be able to do to repay you for any of that.
Dude, you don't have to.
And
Trust me.
I don't know. Like I got so lucky. I got lucky in 1,000 different ways, and I didn't even know we'd gone that close to the hospital, and like
Yeah, dude.
it's just I like it. I don't like I just said. I think of Calvin once, twice a day at least, and
You're the man, Doyle.
like because for that time period, my life wasn't my life.
Yeah.
My life is in the hands of my friends, and fuck, you never think these are the people that could eventually save your life, and I don't know. Every day, I'm so thankful that you guys reacted the way that you guys did, and I'm like shaking right now because a lot of that stuff I didn't know. I didn't know it was 20 minutes.
It was a long time.
I thought they just shocked me, and then I came back, but.
No, that was why it was really scary for all of us because I actually had to walk away for a moment and it was so surreal because you weren't coming back, you weren't coming back to us. They kept on trying and it was just like, I can't keep watching this right now. And I walked away for a while and I came back and they were cutting you up and like, I just know it was like a 20-minute ordeal. You know what I mean? It just felt like forever. So
I know. I broke the rule already.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard because it's like, I mean, Calvin and I had he told me about it in South Korea, but it's just hard to, it's the eye contact. We're looking at each other. It's like, it's everything else. So it's hard, and you guys haven't, I mean, besides the 15 minutes before we just started filming, you guys haven't talked about this. This is, like, you guys haven't seen each other, like, so it's, I mean, it's
In the
real.
parking lot was the first time I've seen him since the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you guys had came to the hospital a couple times.
Yeah,
But
I mean, since exactly, and that's kind of, I guess that's the next thing is that it wasn't just over then. I mean, that was a Thursday, 7:45, I think you said.
7:45, yeah.
So
Sunset.
when the news started getting around, because the kink posted like, "Hey, we're due to unforeseen extreme," and it was just the way it was worded. It was like something's up, you know, and. I saw a couple people post it, and I sent a text to Daryl, and that's when I found out, and maybe a couple people or something like that in a group or something, but it wasn't over by any means, you know. So there was a lot of questions, there was a lot of like unknowns, and so I mean, you guys had 4 more days. You woke up on Sunday, you would know.
Yeah, it was 3 days before we really got you like, not like. Going angry because you're kind of angry when you're getting out, so they had to like keep putting you back under. But this is like 3 days of kind of like couldn't give anybody a positive or like a negative. There was just that stagnant time of just we can't say anything, like you can't tell anybody anything, you know. You got to respect the situation.
You want to keep it close.
And it's just like everybody was worried for everybody, and once I found out there was everybody was came together. Like that was pretty special as far as the BMX community goes for that.
my wife had flown out, and like any wife or friend or anyone, you're asking questions.
Yeah.
And the doctors are like, we have to see, we have to wait.
Yeah, they don't give you any.
And I'm just laying in a bed, like with a breathing tube down my throat and everything, and they just couldn't. They can't give you like, oh, he's gonna be fine, or oh,
Yeah,
he's
they
gonna
can't.
be.
Yeah.
So that it's just that whole. I think that couple days of.
They give you the extreme scales. They give you the like, oh, he could be fine or he couldn't, like, or it's like the
But yeah, apparently, and of course I don't remember it, but like when they would try and take me off the anesthesia, and I would wake up and I would get super violent. And I'd try and taking stuff out of me. And at one point I got up on all fours on the bed, and they're like calling in the male nurses, like, we need help in here, and like they're like pulling me down. And I have this photo, which I showed you earlier, and you can't see it, but they have me like cuffed to the bed, and like I'm making a fist. And,
nice guy Doyle.
and I mean, everyone knows I'm not a violent person, but apparently I'm like get me out. Like I'm trying to take.
You just don't know you don't know what's going on, so
Yeah.
you're thinking fight or flight type thing. I'm sure. I mean, I'm making jumps, obviously,
I
but
don't know.
That was definitely the best news ever. Like we're all at the house, and Daryl's like, Daryl's trying to get out of his bed. We're just like, oh my god! Like, everybody just like, yes! Like, I don't know. I remember we started drinking pretty heavily. Because we're like, yes, celebrate! Doyle was trying to get out, and like, Daryl was like, he's trying to rip the tube out and everything. And we're like, he's back. Like,
oh yeah.
That was when we knew. We're like, all right, the man is here.
That's what Denise was saying. She was like, well, she'd say to the doctors, that's good, right? He's up. Like, he can move. He's cool. And they're like, well, he's getting pretty violent, so we put him back under. And they did this, like, 2 or 3 times.
Oh, really?
Until finally one doctor was like, we're taking him off anesthesia, and that's final.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, all right. And like, but I guess the third time I came out, I was like, I was pretty chill. And they had me cuffed anyways.
Yeah. So what did you guys do at the house for 3 days? Obviously, it was,
it was really tough.
Stark.
We didn't get to bed until really late that night because we were at the hospital. Matt's dad actually got pizzas for everybody and brought him into the ICU, and there was like a lot of like vibes going on in that room, just trying to just look after each other. Yeah. And Daryl's girl Whitney, she was like looking after us. She was actually there. I don't know if you remember that.
I actually do remember Whitney and Daryl being there.
Yeah, Whitney was there, and she actually came to the scene. She was there when it was all happening.
Oh sure.
Oh, wow.
So she was in town, and she was like our mum for the whole time. She looked after us, and that was amazing. And we were kind of just like scattered, everybody. You know, Nathan was sleeping outside and like didn't know what to do, and everybody, Travis ended up going home because, you know, he's young and
Yeah.
it was a tough situation. And everybody else stayed because we wanted to see the outcome. We wanted to be there every day, and yeah, it was tough. And Dave Fortman, the art director at Kink, he came that night, so he didn't even see you healthy. You know what I mean? He wasn't on the trip yet, so we had to pick him up at the airport late and tell him what was going on, and it was
Lost.
It was
I'm sure
lost.
it was. Yeah.
Everybody
yeah.
was just lost for those 3 days, and then every little bit of information we got that was positive was just like boosting ourselves up, like, and everybody was starting to like, you know, come back to normal. But everybody was a mess. Like, I didn't leave my bed for a whole day. One day, I was like, I can't.
Yeah.
I was just like, yeah.
I was explaining it to you earlier. Like, I went through this, and it happened to me, but
2 different experiences.
to everybody
Yeah.
else, like, it was a whole different experience. Like, their experience is so much more traumatic than what I went through. I woke up one day and I'm like, oh, what's everyone doing? And you know, you see the concern and the fear on everyone's faces, and that's something I'll never forget. But and my wife still has to bring me back to earth every once in a while, because I feel pretty good.
Yeah.
All things considered, you know, everything that happened, I'm like, man, I could go riding. I want to do some stuff around the house. And she's like,
Yeah.
you don't get it. You don't understand what you went through, because we were all there.
Yeah.
We saw it all. Like, because my wife came out the next day, Friday.
Yeah, she was there the next day. Yeah.
So she had to be there, you know, watching me in the bed and everything. And,
She was awesome. She held it down so well.
That-
She's so
I could
strong.
hardly imagine.
Yeah.
the thing, I don't mean to call out J. Rowe, but
He won't mind.
what's that?
He won't mind. He won't
He
mind.
won.
My wife's like, yeah, everyone was crying. I was like, well, J. Rowe wasn't crying. Jay doesn't really have that much emotion. And she's like, I held Jay. We held each other, and we just bawled.
Oh.
And I'm like, you and Jay? And she's like, yeah, me and Jay held each other and cried. I'm like, no way. Like,
Yeah.
I remember thinking that was like the funniest thing.
Yeah. House could be on fire, and Jay would be
Yeah.
like, "Should we leave?"
Jay'd be like, yeah, you know, things are gonna burn, whatever. But
Dust to dust.
So I have to remind myself of that
Yeah.
type of like putting, because when you see situations when people go through stuff, it's not just them that go through it. You pull all your family and friends through it.
Yeah.
And I just have to remind myself to not be selfish and just remember that a lot of people really cared for
Yeah.
me, and that I owe it to them not to jump the gun and try to go riding tomorrow or something.
Exactly.
It's coming, though. It's coming for sure.
See?
So that was so Sunday. When did you leave Albuquerque? When did you guys leave Albuquerque? And when did Kink leave Albuquerque? And when did you leave Albuquerque?
We left Tuesday. You had surgery on Wednesday.
Yeah,
And then you were out. Like, it was 6 days.
6
turnaround or
days.
something, right?
So the surgery was the ICM. Did I say it right? Or what is it?
ICD.
ICD.
Yeah, I have now in my chest. I have what's called an ICD. It's an internal cardiac defibrillator. I think that's what it stands for, and it's a device. Should I
And you-
pull the shirt?
if you want to,
I don't
that's
know
fine.
if you can see it, but it's
It looks like a really bad collarbone, bro. It's actually pretty big, huh?
It's like the size of a flip phone.
Oh wow.
So this thing has 2 wires that connect into my heart, and if it reaches an abnormal rhythm, or it stops again, it shocks it, and it'll shock it back to the rhythm that it needs to be in, or it shocks me back to life. It's like a defibrillator and a pacemaker in one.
yeah.
So it's like a bit of insurance now for, you know, if I ever am super active again, then this thing will.
If something goes,
This is my governor now.
yeah. Yeah.
Keeps me under.
And you said it's like a wireless thing too, like your doctor can actually like monitor your heart all the way back home
Yeah.
and everything, right?
Yeah, it's
that's
like
crazy.
constantly gathering data, and people are constantly looking at it. And it's strange.
Yeah.
And it took some time to get used to it, but now it's just.
No, it's just there. So that was
part
the
of me.
surgery you had on Wednesday, and then you went home.
Yeah, and then I was out of the hospital.
And you had some short-term memory loss.
A lot of short-term memory
lot,
loss.
okay.
I don't remember half the trip, and like I said, I had to really rely on people to jog my memory.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually lost a lot of April Like even when I got home,
What day did it happen? So it was like the 8th
April
or
5th.
something?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
Yeah, I think the
First
post
week
came
of
out, like a lot of the posts and stuff, so maybe that's how it 8th in my head, so April 5th, yeah.
I think we got home on the 10th or 11th. I think that's when.
Yeah, okay, 6 days, yeah.
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 So you lost, so short-term memory is back?
Yeah. Well, yeah, I think so. I feel pretty
Seemed
good.
pretty good so far. What'd you
I
have for
forgot
breakfast? What'd you have for breakfast?
We had the healthy breakfast burrito at
There you
Swami's.
Correct.
Swami's.
With the delicious coffee, I must say. I actually forgot my deodorant on this trip, though.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe it's not so good.
Stores you can get that from.
So everything from your point of view, obviously, besides people treating you a little bit fragile, you feel healthy. Yeah, I think you even said you're doing some, I don't know if it's physical therapy or maybe it's a little bit different version of that, but you're ahead of the curve with that as well.
I'm doing cardiac rehab.
Yeah.
And basically that's me going to like, it's almost like a gym. And they hook me up to all these different electrodes that monitor my heart. And they just have me doing different exercises. I'm on the elliptical, I'm on the recumbent bike, I'm on the treadmill, I'm lifting weights. I'm doing the arm ergometer thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of cardio, and they keep, like each week it gets a little harder. But so far I'm so good. And I'm doing really well with it, and they're happy with what they see. And yeah, I feel pretty good. I think I feel better than I should feel at this point in the injury. And it's like I keep saying, I feel like we could all go riding today, have a good day, shoot photos, film, and like it'd be awesome.
Be chilling, yeah.
But I have to respect my doctor's orders,
Yeah.
and I can't be selfish because of what I put my friends and family through. So.
Yeah.
I have a good relationship with my doctor, and I'm just kind of waiting for him to give me the thumbs up.
It's kind of like when Gary fractured his skull. He was like, yeah, it's the easiest bone I ever broke. Like, he's like, I feel great. I'm completely fine, but apparently I shouldn't ride because they told him some horror story, and he was like, all right, I'm not gonna ride for however long you say. But
Well, my doctor, and did I already say this? That like you said,
I don't short-term.
9 out of 10 people don't make it.
Yeah, I think that's because it's like sudden cardiac death is what I ended up finding immediately after when I found about the news, and that's what, like, lack of a better word, fucked me up. Like my weekend was like messed up too. So
But I just remember him looking me in the eye. He's like, 9 out of 10 people don't survive what you went through, and that was what I think about. Like, I'm 1 out of 10. So
amazing, dude.
So I try and respect what my doctor says. I try and not be selfish
yeah.
to my friends and family, and just trying to maintain my sanity right now without riding.
And obviously, overall, doctors say different things. Do they give you, are you expecting to, go out and put another video part together for Kink, or is it like where do you think, you're gonna be at? I guess. I mean, people are gonna be curious about it. I don't know if it's.
Yeah, as far as riding goes, we're kind of on a wait and see right now. Basically, my doctors don't want me doing like long-winded park runs or like exhausting myself or like stressing myself out trying to film clips. When I do start riding, I need to be taking it easy. I need to be thinking about like my hydration and not like pushing myself too hard. And me personally, I want to get back to like riding trails.
Yeah.
I want to get back to like, flowing a good park. Stuff that's a little bit more smoother and a little bit more relaxing, stuff like that. And I think at this point I can say it's very realistic that I can get back to that.
Awesome.
And as far as like filming a video part or anything like that, I'm not really even. That's not even on my radar. Yet.
One step in front of the other. But somebody wants to like be back. Like in a very coarse sense, like that. It's like. But it's like that's the question. But
I'll keep saying throughout this whole thing is like I just have to wait until
my
doctor says it's okay.
Yeah, no need to rush into it.
Yeah. It's not like a broken ankle. It's not like where you just slowly feel it getting better. And it's like, I can walk a little bit better.
Yeah.
And then like one day you don't even notice that your ankle was once broken. Like 8-10 weeks later, whatever it is. Like
It's a different healing process. Yeah, for sure.
This is something I can't see. I can't really feel. So
I mean, I guess on the scale of things, that's probably the gnarliest thing that's probably ever happened. Oh, well, actually, let's not even that ever happened to you. I meant to say, but I don't even want to ask that question. I want to talk about kind of the rallying of the Doyle shirts and the BMX and stuff like that. Like that outpouring of support from BMX for you, and did it catch you off guard?
Yeah.
Like to me, it's like, of course it's gonna happen, but like, did it catch you off guard?
It did. It fully, like, I never would have expected just the amount of love that I got from everybody, and not just with like the selling of the shirts, which was awesome. I mean, they raised like $16,000. When I got home, I was home for like a week, and my wife and I went to where Ink Division is, where they printed the shirts, and I saw Bert, and they gave me the big check, and I'm like, this is insane.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing all these pictures popping up from all around the world.
Yeah.
People with the Doyle shirts, which I think is the most cheesy pose.
It's hilarious.
Ever.
Yeah. You're like, it could have been a little bit different one.
But and just seeing
OG.
the outpouring, even the messages that I get
Yeah.
from social media, like people just like, hey man, like, big fan, really love what you do, and really pulling for you. I'm like, man, like, this is insane. Like, I never would have thought that so many people care about me doing turn downs and shit like that. And
Hell yeah, we do.
when it's
Exactly.
BMX is so small,
Yeah.
and you almost exist in this little bubble that when you're into it, it feels huge. You're like, BMX is huge, but on the grand scheme of things, everything's really small. And but just to be just well respected and loved within the community has been, I don't know, that's been the most eye-opening thing for
Cool.
me. So
Obviously, as one of the only winners that's ever been carried off of stage for Nora Cup, obviously you're well loved. So I'm absolutely amazed and floored that like we're here talking how gnarly that experience was. Like, and it's mind blowing to me.
Jay,
So,
one of my last conversations with Jay Rowe, he's like, "Are they gonna write books about you? And like, are you gonna be like a hero of the medical community?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He's like, "Cause we shouldn't be like talking like this."
yeah.
He's like, and again, he's like,
You
"What
could-
you went through, like, this shouldn't be possible." He's like, "This is like a medical miracle." And I'm like, "Really?" Again, I'm like, "Really?
It
Okay."
really is.
Yeah, and
It's insane. It's insane. Kick myself. Like I was telling him, it's like it took a while, a few weeks for me to really get over it. And then when I spoke to him on the phone, I was like, because like I would just like have flashbacks.
Yeah.
And I would be like, is Doyle here? And then like be like, oh no, it's all good, everything's okay. But it's just like it was just so, it's insane. And then when I spoke to him on the phone, that's when I was like, yeah, that shit's disappeared, and I'm never thinking about it again, and just
And then I invite you back to talk about it with like 4 cameras pointing at you.
It's okay. It's like it's weird to talk about. It's tough, but at the same time, like you have a traumatic experience, and everybody deals with it differently, and it's like you've just got to like figure out what works for you. And I think I figured it out now, so I feel good just being here with you, mate, right now. So it's the best feeling ever.
well,
But yeah, it's just
thanks for saving my life.
yeah, baby. No,
And
it's great.
I'm going to take a CPR class.
Yes,
Everybody
you
should take a CPR class.
Yeah, without a doubt.
You never know.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, what could happen. So,
Yep.
and I'm also going to go get checked out in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
it's
So,
good to know.
Yeah.
For
So,
sure.
HCM affects 1 in every 500 Americans.
so don't be paranoid, but
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's worth knowing
yeah.
what's
Without
going
a
on
doubt.
with your heart.
So let's try and end this on a. Let's be done with the heavy eye welting portion of the show now. Sorry. So let's just go back into the normal, like normal Feeble Talk stuff, like
Okay.
ha ha ha, like laugh, force a laugh out for me,
You got it. I think we're keeping it pretty lighthearted.
Yeah,
It's
for the
going-
most
it's
for the
going
most
good.
part. Yeah. So, old influence is so obviously you come from a trail background. So your old influence we can go and play is Brandon Pundai, aka Punjab, aka one of the nicest dudes I've ever met.
Really, Punjab?
I thought he was really nice. Is he not?
I don't. He's
I won't spread rumors then. Maybe.
I mean, he's a nice guy, but he's pretty salty and he's got his opinions.
All right.
But this was one of.
So this is standard domination.
This
so
is
this is probably
domination.
we're the same exact age. So you're East Coast, so you probably grew up on this. I watched this a few times.
This was. I thought he had one of the best styles. And he came up at a time when like Ground Chuck was really popular, and everyone loved Ground Chuck's style, which I did too. But like I was like, nah, Punjab. If we're talking push locals,
Yeah.
Punjab has the best style. And this section, it's edited to Led Zeppelin's "Immigrant Song," and right here, the song goes quiet when he kicks the Superman. And I thought that was the most badass thing. It's like, because the song like cuts,
Yeah.
and then it picks back up,
Yeah.
and the whole rhythm of the video part is just like on point with like how he rode, and I just thought like there's no real bangers in it either.
Yeah, it's more just like a everyday
just-
session type thing.
But this part wanted like every time I'd watch it, I'm like, fuck, I gotta go ride trails right now.
And you, I doubt you're of the same encyclopedia-esque knowledge, but when you were watching videos all the time and really just like, you were a bit of a video nerd.
Oh, yeah.
You saw every single video, you followed every part of it.
Well, yeah, I think that was just the era that I grew up in, though. I mean, there was no internet. There wasn't a steady stream of new media coming at us at all times. So you would get a video or a magazine, and you'd watch the video 1,000 times.
Yeah.
Or you'd read the magazine cover to cover, and you're tearing out photos you thought were cool. Like, I can still remember photos from magazines that I just thought were the most badass
Yeah.
photos. And you put them on your wall, and like, then finally something new comes out, like a month later or 2 months later.
You knew like obscure stuff. I felt like you're like, even just how because we don't have audio right now, so the fact that you knew that song disappeared, and but you'd be able to pick that out in like a random section,
Oh,
like
yeah. That was
you-
the best part of that whole section, was when like dun 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 dun, and then it's like, and he kicks out Superman.
Yeah.
Like Glenn Milligan edited that.
Yeah.
And I've gotten to know Glenn since then, but I'm like, dude, that Punjab part was like the best part you've ever. That's the best thing you've ever done. And he's like, oh, thanks, Doyle. The
Yeah.
New York accent. And he's like, yeah, thanks a lot, Doyle. It's pretty cool. I liked it. I'm like, no, dude, the music and the riding and just in the woods and like.
he was feeling it inside. He was like, yeah.
That whole
He was
part
hyped.
was, that was sick.
And then a newer influence. I tried to squeeze out maybe a more recent type dude, but I can't. I'm not trying to influence your answer. Was Corey Martinez, and I think we pulled Still United. I get him. I got him mixed up, but
Yeah.
Still United. Obviously, he's a fucking boss. But
It's just with Martinez, I watch him ride and I'm like, shit, we're like of the same age,
Yeah.
same generation. I think he's a little bit younger than me, actually.
Yeah, he is.
But still, I mean, I thought when he put out his part in Wide Awake Nightmare, I'm like, well, it doesn't get any better than that. What are you going to do after that? And he was so young back then, too. Like, just to see him still at such a high level and just killing it.
yeah,
And everything he does is just, like, perfectly clean and clicked, and, like, there's no sketch. It's just, I don't know. I think that's, like, street riding wise, I think that's just how it, like, he rides how I wish I could ride street. And it's been awesome to see his progression ever since, like, the Wide Awake Nightmare days. And even, like, on the East Coast, he got, like, stranded in Philly back around, like, the 9/11 time period, like 2001. He was, like, stuck in Philly with Wismerski. And we would, like, hear rumors about, like, oh, dude, he did this and he did that. He went up the Penn Rail
yeah.
to bar spin, and everyone's like, what? Just hearing all this stuff and then seeing the footage. And
This is
then,
insane.
I love Marcus's Wilkie's reaction in the back. Literally just like Jason Owens-esque. Basically, like the wind up and the punch to the sky. Like, I love the primal yell on this one too. Like afterwards, like the long clip.
He's crazy. So
that yell.
progressive. So progressive.
36 years
I know,
old.
he
Yeah.
just keeps
It's
on
insane.
learning all
It's
this new
nuts.
stuff.
It is nuts. What is there some like new, well, like with the Vans US Open, is there some new like tranny trail dudes like the Cordovas, like those style dudes that you're feeling like?
Well, Cordova got like I was watching the HB contest. I think it was not last year's, but the year before.
the one you won.
The one that Cordova won.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've like fanned out at a contest because we're used to seeing certain things.
Yeah.
And he tail up that gap from like bowl to bowl.
Yeah.
And it was the first time in a long time that I've like really fanned out. Like I got out of my seat and I was just like, oh my God. Like I fully like freaked out. I'm like, that's number one. He won right there.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the winner. If he doesn't win this contest, it's bullshit. And sure enough, he won. But like everyone around me is like, damn, Doyle, calm down.
Yeah, yeah.
And I went up to Cordova afterwards. I'm like, dude, that was some fucking crazy riding. Every time he dropped in, he had a different line with different tricks.
I just
mean-
pulled Cordova from the sky. That's good that it's like.
Well, you just mentioned him. That's what I
Yeah,
thought
yeah,
of.
yeah.
Anytime I think of Cordova, I think of his performance at that Huntington Beach contest. I'm like, dude, that was like the best bull riding I've ever seen in my life.
I mean, like who's like a young, like is there any I don't know, under 22? I'll put it. I was gonna say under 20, but like under 22 riders that are you're like.
No, they all
like,
suck.
All right. Next
Nah.
next question then.
Lately, I'm really into like Dan Foley.
Yeah.
Foley, I think, is doing a lot of cool shit. Like he like with his ramp and his ramp stuff and then his street stuff. The stuff that he comes up with is just like really cool. Like you watch his riding, you're like, man.
It's just
That's sick.
how he can make a quarter pipe air look like
Yeah.
just a straight air. I'm like, I can't do that.
He's
You know,
so
like just
smooth.
even
Yeah.
like nothing's happening yet. So much is happening.
just sit there
Yeah.
like, "Ugh."
Yeah. Like I can't do that. So, okay.
Really,
Foley.
really. I don't know how old he is, but he's in his probably mid-20s right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's 26.
I don't think he really fits the bracket I put it in there, but you know, whatever, we'll take it. And I
Sorry,
think,
young guys.
yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess that goes perfectly into it because it's style, top 3 favorite style dudes. Not necessarily, you're not taking a strong stance. These are your favorites, I assume. Not, are you? Or you could say, yeah, these are the top 3 most stylish riders.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In my opinion, is the only one that matters.
No, not in your, just ever.
Just of all time, the most.
Yeah, we'll just say that you're making it happen. Like right now, this is the top 3 most stylish riders in BMX of all time.
You guys should play it already.
Yeah, there's one right there.
Well, yeah, I got it. I think Chase Hawk is
Yeah.
making stuff look so good lately.
Of course, I grabbed an old section.
Yeah,
But whatever.
what the heck?
I think just let him talk.
No, he's just so smooth and he just looks so good on a bike, and he's just, I don't know, he's just like one of those dudes right now that just everything he does just looks
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
And
What-
again, it's like, man, I want my shit to look like that.
But I mean, yeah, you're being modest. Yeah, you're being
It
modest
really
at the
does look
moment,
like
but
that. Looks great.
Well, I don't know. But like, Chase looks like he was like, he's like the perfect size and shape to be on a BMX bike. I see clips of myself and I'm all tall and gangly. And like, man, I look weird.
I've always thought that too. When I was growing up, obviously, like I was a gangly kid. I mean, we're all in the 6 foot club here, so
Yep.
I was 6 foot when I was 13. So I just felt like I didn't belong on a bike, and it made like I rode with Gary, so I was like, well, he's anatomically made better for BMX, and I'm struggling here, but just giving up the fact that I just didn't have the skill level. But you know, so it is funny how, but like you get the tall dudes such as yourself, such as, you know, I think I looked up to Ryan Brennan, bar spinner, because he had like
he's huge.
He's big.
Yeah.
He's like
The
6'5", yeah, and then Harrington and stuff like that, like tall riders that were relatable to me in that sense, like just the fact that like an invert or something like that, it'd be like, oh, it's possible.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
tangent. But who was next? I think that it was just, I think I ran these a little bit long then.
Yeah, Chase Hawk.
Aiken. Well, I think Foster's in the middle. Sorry
Brian,
to ruin it.
yeah.
But what?
This
How
is-
long did I run this? Did I grab the whole section? What's wrong with me? That's it.
Chase is getting that shine time.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's
man.
getting the
Hey,
shine time.
Chase.
Sorry, Chase. Sorry we ran out of stuff
Yeah.
to say about
Getting
Chase.
contingency on this
Yeah, Chase.
Am I going to talk about him for another 5
Yeah.
minutes?
Maybe. I think that's it, right? No, this is the last
too. This
clip.
is actually pretty gnarly.
Yeah.
It's sick. At the local park.
At Fullerton.
Yeah, that's their local park, I guess. Colt guys.
BF.
Yeah, and then Brian, to me, he's like the, I don't know, almost like the godfather of style. To
Yeah.
me, anyways,
Yeah.
to my generation. Because he was the first dude where, like, when I'm younger, I'm looking up to all these dudes because they have the crazy tricks.
Yeah.
But then after seeing him ride, I'm like, man, you know what? He's not doing as much, but it still looks really good. And I'm like, what is that? And I'm like, oh, that's what style is. Yeah. It's just looking good on your bike and trying to be smooth and look polished. And he was just that dude for me, where I was like, oh, I get what style is, because that dude, he was like the spiritual awakening type of thing.
Yeah, it's weird because like BF has a style that's all uniquely his own. Whereas Chase has kind of people that ride like him, or maybe you could pull parallels like with Chase and Aiken or something like that. But like BF's style is like uniquely his.
Yeah.
You know, even these threes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like it,
There was the way he pulls a 3, he pulls like he's like ripping a spine almost. Like that.
Yeah.
There was an elevation in Canada a few years ago, and he was the only guy that could 3 the last set. The last set was like 7 foot tall, 32 foot long set, but you'd hit the lip, and it felt like you were hitting a street spine, and then trying to go 32 feet, and everyone else is just like in their handlebars, like, oh shit. But Brian was the only one that could 3 it, and he was doing the big 3 one-handed flatties, and I think he got top 3 at that elevation, and I just remember thinking, I was like, fuck, that's Brian Foster right there, and he was already considered pretty old at that moment.
yeah, right. I guess it's Dreamline, but that commentary of him like where he like eats shit. I think it's a 3 as well, where it's like the slow mo of him. I'm going off subject. I'm like brain dead after the gnarly conversation. Like I'm like spent, like mentally, I'm like spent after the
exhausted
conversation.
ourselves.
Yeah, like I can't even.
Oh, you're talking about the Empire of Dirt?
Was that? No, it was like the first Dreamline or something when he's 3 in the last one, and it's like a commentary piece somewhere. And he's like, yeah, I got this shit. I look sick. And he's like, whoa, what's happening?
He actually mentioned me and Chase in that. He's like, he was gonna do a 3 table.
Oh yeah,
He's like, eat this, Chase Hawk. Oh fuck, screw you, Chris Doyle. And then he's like, oh wait, something's going wrong.
And then obviously, I would assume. I mean, I would put him at the.
Dude, I love this part too.
Yeah.
I think this part really went overlooked.
You think so?
This is his Odyssey part.
Yeah, it's electronical.
Yeah, dude. This is the look back, I think. Let's see. Hold on. I think I remember this clip where he just gets to the end and he just does a straight look back.
See, like I said,
Dude.
video nerd.
I didn't even watch that this much, but I didn't watch this part that much, but I remember that clip because
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. He just went straight up and it was like
Yeah,
the
straight
perfect
up, straight
look
down.
back.
Roasted it.
But like everything is.
Yeah, I always thought that he had. I still to this day think Mikey has the best style on a
Yeah.
BMX bike.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
undeniable. And he's goofy footed.
Well, yeah.
And it works.
Wouldn't have even noticed.
This is Monroeville Trails. That's like my local spot.
Both ways.
I think this is. We shot a couple photos there once. I went there once, right? And I scared Tom Marcus, and he almost died.
Possibly.
Yeah.
No one ever 3s that set, by the way. That's like a hip that, like, because there's a tree right there. I don't know if he spins it right now. There's that tree right there,
right
and
there.
like no one ever spins that. But he was like spinning it the whole time because you feel like you're gonna hit the tree every time. Oh, this is rad too. Rad.
Just teasing, huh?
This clip-
I mean,
Good.
going from, I guess, style and tricks, and where do you think, like, the contest scene, obviously I think you rode X Games last year, and speaking of Matt Cordova had amazing. He was like one of the first dudes to drop in. He had an amazing run. He did like a double pendulum or something that was like super steezy, and he got like a 57. And I remember I was there, and I was like, well, it's gonna be like this, like, and then somebody was about to drop in before you. It was like maybe the dude that won Colton or something like that, and they just did the most like fucked run, and you were like on the roll, and you're like, drop in. Is there like it doesn't seem like there's any trail-based dirt contest. Like even I guess this is probably a valid interjection is the Nora Cup going from a dirt rider award to a trail rider award. Like just because I felt that ramp riding had just infected, like box jump riding had infected like all the dirt contests where there wasn't ever going to be a real dirt rider winning the award anymore. You know, like Peraza won that one year, but no offense to Peraza, but he doesn't really ride dirt all that much. But he won because he had like a couple of clips on dirt and rode some dirt contests and won X Games. That's why he won the dirt award.
Yeah, I wish he didn't look so good riding trails or riding dirt. Damn, I voted for him that year. I was like, yeah, he killed, like he crushed it at X Games.
Yeah.
I remember before his, I think it was one of his final runs, he's like, on that hip, should I do 3 inward can, or should I, he had another trick in mind. I'm like, dude, do the 3 inward can, make it all look nice. Mm-hmm. And he did that, and I was like, that was like his high score. I'm like, I felt good about that. Anyways, the whole like trail contest, like a dirt jumping contest with like a trail feel to just being like 3 box jumps happened so fast.
Overnight.
Because like those, when the X Games were in Austin, those courses were sick.
Yeah.
Especially that first year when it was down the big hill.
Yeah, the one where we brought it back. It was scary.
It was real scary. It was windy.
Yeah.
And everyone was tripping out. And I was stoked because in those conditions, when everyone's like kind of scared or apprehensive about things and it's windy, I'm like, man, this 3 turn down is going to mean something today. And I think I slid my way right into 4th place on that one. Because like all the...
But you did well the following year too, right?
Oh, the following year I did better. I got third.
Third, yeah.
And that was another one where there was like hips and rollers and things like that.
I'm like, sick one,
I'm like, I am back. The trail contest is back. And then like the next year was like kind of the same deal. There was like hips and rollers and
then the following year was a quarter pipe.
And then and then in Minneapolis, I'm like, wait a second. Last year I'm riding a roller, and this year like I'm riding box jumps.
Yeah.
And
box jumps and a quarter pipe at the end, and the quarter pipe counts.
I was like,
so crazy.
They just like windled me right out of this whole thing.
Yeah.
Which, whatever. I mean, I know TV's a whole different thing, but people want to see the tricks.
Yeah.
They don't want to see the dude. Oh, that guy has really good style. They're like, no, I want to see the dude doing the double front. Like, they want to see that.
Yeah.
I get it. I understand. It's just a different world nowadays.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Are you asking my opinion?
Yeah, just in the sense of, well, I mean, I think I know what your opinion is, but just in the sense of, like, dirt rider, like, is that still dirt, or is it box jumps that just, is it like the medium of making box jumps is just different? You know, like.
A course like the one in Minneapolis is like, no, that's just 3 box jumps in a row built out of dirt that are gonna people are gonna trick the hell out of.
Yeah.
And that's fine. That's ESPN. They want that type of content. But yeah, to me, I'm a little. I grew up riding trails. I mean, you saw my influence was Punjab.
Yeah.
90% of that video is trails. That's just. But I'm older, and that's just. I have to accept that what I think is cool might not be cool to other people out there.
It's definitely very cool, especially in Australia. Trail riding.
Well, yeah, Australia's a little bit behind the times.
I wouldn't call it that. I think we're just in the forefront of it. We're going to foresee it, and it's going to come back full circle, but we're already there, you know? No, it'll come back. It'll come back. I feel like it has, though. It's been up and down.
It's just more specialized in a sense. It's like more. There's more weight on it when it actually exists. Like it's more passionate. It's like, oh damn, there's a set of trails. That's like, fuck, that's crazy. You know, like.
It still means a lot to me. I'm not saying that. It's just. I think as far as like what's popular in the contest forum, especially.
Yeah.
You can't take away the backyard trails.
Yeah.
That's what we always will. We'll always have it.
True.
Yeah.
So you fly home today literally.
Tonight,
So,
yeah, a couple hours.
I mean, you're still chilling for a while. You are gonna be doing some commentating at X Games. And
Doing the sideline reporting at X Games. I'm also doing the commentary for Simple Session in Latvia.
Nice.
for Red Bull. So do you have to take the hat off?
No.
No.
No, really?
No.
I kind of do what I do. What I do. Okay. If the producer wants to, see it with the hat off, then that's fine. Unleash the hair. But no, I'm excited just to have things like that going on that are
Yeah.
still keeping me involved during this downtime.
Yeah.
And like, gosh,
You don't want to say it. Yeah.
I've been so lucky. I've never really been off my bike longer than a couple weeks. I had ankle surgery a few years ago, and that was 8 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah, you're coming up. I mean, it's about 8 weeks right now. Yeah.
So, in that respect, I'm very fortunate.
Yeah. It's almost
But,
8 weeks to. Isn't today the 5th?
Today's the 5th.
Yeah. So it's 8 weeks to the day. Yeah. Wow.
So, but I'm very thankful to be people have been trying to keep me involved in different things, and just trying to keep up with my social media and all that stuff.
You've been doing well with that too.
Yeah,
Been
thank you.
Been following that.
You always want new content, right? You always want
know.
something new to put out there,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah. So I'm just trying to keep
Cool.
up with all that, and hopefully, I think by the middle of this summer, I'll know a little bit more where I stand as far as
Yeah.
riding goes, because I have a couple more appointments with my cardiologist, and he'll.
I think that is the one. I think I've had a similar conversation with Jason Enns or something. Like people. I mean, you doing an invert, you doing a turn down. That's all we want. You don't have to do much more than that. Like that alone. So.
Okay. Well, I'll try to get back there.
Yeah.
I think
Let's get it.
that's to me BMX, that's how I want to see BMX. I want to see like a classic trick done well by someone that I like.
Yeah. Exactly.
That's
yeah.
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a good sandwich.
That's right.
You don't have to make it fancy.
Less is more.
Yeah.
That's what my art teacher said, and I think that's a good way to live.
Instead of pro Q&A, we're going to do peer Q&A.
Okay.
So I hit up the Kink dudes, did not hit up the Rockstar dudes because I didn't even think about it. I'm sorry.
You'd want to hit up
sure?
Dennis Anderson, Chase Hawk,
I get it.
TJ Ellis.
I get
Did you get one from Sexton?
I did. Sexton was the only one that didn't reply at all.
Come on, dude. Where are
course.
you?
So we're a little lo-fi here. You have to watch them on the computer because we don't have audio on the TV. So
Okay, let's do it.
and then we'll splice them in.
Doyle, what's up, dude? My question is regarding the Square One Classic Wide Awake Nightmare. To me, it always seemed like you guys weren't doing a lot of big team trips. It doesn't seem like there's guys in the background of other clips. You guys are all riding like totally different spots, totally different states, stuff like that. So my question is, were you aware of some of the stuff that had gone down between the other team riders? And if so, did that push you to make your part crazier? Because it just seemed like everyone made these like legacy video parts for that video. And I'm wondering if there was like extra push because they had heard about some of the stuff that the other guys had done. So yeah, let me get some thoughts.
Wow.
That was a
Great question. Yeah.
Yeah.
Daryl, so well spoken. The short answer is no. Like I'd mentioned before, we would hear things on the East Coast about what Martinez was doing. But that seemed like really far-fetched. That's like a whole different, like, oh, I'm just a trail guy. He's like doing stuff on street. But I'm like, man, that's pretty cool. But I didn't really push myself at all to film a good part. I was just like, I lived with Chris Bennett. So we'd go to the trails and we'd film a bunch. And there would be times when we'd be riding a park or something. And I'm like, oh, I want to film this. And he always had the camera ready. And I didn't even ride for Square One yet. And before the...
Hey, I got this video part of you. You want to ride for them?
Well, that was part of his thing. He's like, hey, you might as well ride for Square One because I have pretty much a full part with you anyways. If we film like a couple more clips, you'll be set. And even like my banger in Wide Awake Nightmare, Matt Berenger filmed on a random trip to Wyoming.
What is it? Because
It's I'm in a full pipe, and you just hear my tires
Oh,
buzzing,
the
and
whip.
I go up like the vert wall and I tail up,
Yeah,
and
that is an amazing clip.
so like all these random clips, just for my part, anyways, just kind of came together.
Yeah.
And then like Elf was filming Aiken out in
Mm-hmm.
Salt Lake City, and I think it was the same deal. Like Elf always had a camera on him, and there's Mikey. Mikey's, you know, in his prime doing
Yeah.
his thing, and
It was a more natural flow to it back then, huh? It wasn't like.
I don't remember anyone like, oh, dude, Martinez is doing this. We need to step up our game.
Yeah.
I
Can we
think
get that last second.
that whole video came together like pretty organically.
Yeah.
Even like Wismerski, who had the ender of that video, him and Bob Sherbo were taking trips across the United States every other week and just filming stuff just to have the footage.
Yeah.
So when Bennett announced that he wanted to make a Square One video, it was like, great. Everyone already had all their parts ready to go. And like slap some stuff together, put some
It was
songs.
a different time too because you didn't have to feed the Instagram machine either. So it was like what you filmed is what you had. You
Yeah.
didn't like, oh yeah, I'll throw this on the gram.
So Wismerski came out with all this footage that was like from all over the continental U.S.
Yeah.
Because that was like how him and Sherbo were doing things. Like they're like, oh, there's a vert wall in middle of nowhere, Oregon. Let's go. And they'd get in the car with no money and like drive across the country
That's amazing.
and just to go seek out this one thing.
That's so sick.
And hitting spots along the way. So when that video came out, everyone just had their stuff ready to go. And Bennett put some songs over it and was like, all right, here's our team. I just think everyone was at that time and place in their riding when they were just doing badass shit all the time.
Perfect storm type situation.
Yeah,
Everybody's
that
in their
the-
prime. Yeah.
And I think that might be why people like the video so much. It's
Yeah.
like you don't see people like, you know, stressing, trying to, you know, put in
Except
work
for
for a
Bennett.
video.
Bennett's stressing.
Well, Bennett wasn't never in the Square One videos.
He wasn't?
No, he was never in a Square One video.
Oh,
Because he was riding for Little Devil at the time. So all of his stuff was always going to Little Devil.
Okay. All right.
So he was just like the man
That's my
behind it.
blunder number 2 of the show.
Hey man, I'm here to
Thank you.
educate.
Chad.
Hey Chris, what's up, man? My question to you is, if we were trapped in a van for 12 hours, which movie would you watch the entire time? Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, or Dumb and Dumber?
I only get
Love
to
you, dude.
choose between those two?
I think so. And it's weird that he went with like Ace
Wait.
Ventura like number 3 or 2 or something. Not the original.
Yeah.
When Nature Calls.
If I have to pick between those two,
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber.
Yeah.
I mean, because we're in a van and they took their sheepdog across the country. It would just
sheepdog.
make too much sense.
I did see something online how somebody recreated the sheepdog and is selling it.
Yeah, I saw
For
that.
30 grand or
Amazing.
something.
30
A
grand?
measly 30 grand
Piece of
for a
art,
sheepdog.
yeah.
Jesus.
Dumb and Dumber, easy answer.
Let's pool our money, guys. We can get that thing.
We could do it.
We could drive that thing home today.
next kink trip.
What's up, Doyle? My question for you right now is, a lot of people didn't know, or a lot of kids may not know, that you had a pretty illustrious career with another brand before joining Kink back in 2006. At that time, what were you thinking when that was all going down, and did you ever think, 12 years later, you'd still be here, repping Kink hard and doing it big? And throughout the long time on Kink, through all the good times, who was like your favorite team manager with Kink? Like, who was your guy that you like love to travel with and just like cruise with and just generally thought was like the dude as the TM?
So he,
Who was that? Who was that? Was that Jay?
Jay and his friend Burrow.
First of all,
amazing.
what the hell is that? Like,
don't
was
know.
that a donkey with glasses?
I couldn't tell it was a donkey
Where
or a
is he
small
right
horse.
now? He's a world traveling guy.
His lady lives in North Carolina on a farm.
That's
So I
where
think
it
she has
was.
some barn animals or something.
Makes sense.
I was so distracted. I don't even know if I heard the question.
He
was talking about
What was he talking
previous,
about?
an illustrious career with a previous bike sponsor.
Yeah, and what you were thinking at that time, I think probably when I guess it went down, because you actually got like kicked off for a weird reason, if I remember correctly. And then, who's your favorite Kink TM?
Yeah.
It seems like a little bit of a loaded question.
Little loaded.
Well, for those that don't know, for almost a decade, I rode for DK before getting on Kink. And when I got dropped from DK, I was I was 26, and I thought my career was over.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I had a good run. That was great. But actually, I got some nice offers from different companies, both like hardcore companies, and then I got
A
like,
big box brand.
and then like there was a couple of the bigger brands that wanted to have a contest guy. We need
Yeah,
a
yeah.
contest guy.
Yeah.
Some of and I didn't want to be that guy, so I kind of ruled them out pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I was really surprised when Kink came to me and they're like, "Oh, we want to sponsor you," and I was like, at this point, this is 2006, and Kink had fallen pretty flat. They were quiet. They dropped their whole team.
Yeah, they dropped their whole team. They were really doing that restructure at that point, and kind of well, I guess maybe like a rebirth of Kink as a brand.
Yeah.
You know?
And I remember I'd get Ride BMX magazine, and Kink always sponsored the back cover, even back then. And I'm like, is Kink even still around? So when Zach called me, I was like, I was really surprised.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I gotta think about this a little bit. And he drove down to Pittsburgh from Rochester the next day. He's like, let's talk in person. And he came down, and we sat on the tailgate of my truck, and we talked about it. And I was like, yeah, all right for Kink. This sounds cool. He's like, yeah, we got a whole line of like complete bikes that are gonna be coming out, and we got like this really good.
Oh,
we got
yeah.
this great team manager.
Because there was a time period in BMX where a lot of brands like Kink and a lot more core brands didn't make complete bikes.
They weren't
And
doing completes yet.
It's a weird idea probably for kids now, but yeah, bike companies didn't make bikes.
So he was talking about, he's like, we got this product designer, Matt, and Jay Rowe's going to run the team. I'm like, who the hell's Jay Rowe? And I was like, yeah, okay, all right for Kink. And I forget when it officially came out. My buddy calls me, he's like, are you seriously riding for Kink? Dude, what are they going to do? And like he kind of made me feel like I made this big mistake.
Yeah.
But in the end, it turned out to be like one of the best decisions I
Yeah.
ever made.
Yeah.
Like I didn't think after I got dropped off DK, like I was treated pretty good on DK, but I was like, man, my career's gonna suck. Like, what's Kink gonna do? But things got so much better. Like better trips, more trips.
Yeah.
I was still doing good in contests and everything, and I was like, man, like.
And you really, of both worlds, you were still doing well in contests, and you had amazing video parts too. Like the opener, of People Talk like that.
Well,
like
Sickest clips. Yeah.
I remember going on trips for Safety First, and I was like, okay, this is my new sponsor, and I was really like passionate. I was like, we need to bring Kink up
Yeah.
into this new world, and like Sexton was killing it at the
Yeah.
time, and a lot like Daryl was killing it at the time. Like everyone
yeah.
was like just
Another
murdering.
perfect storm type of situation.
Yeah,
or
and I was
whatever,
like, okay, we need to like really focus on this video. And I remember going on trips and being like, I'm going in on this trip. I don't give like that trip where the feeble thing came. I remember before going on that trip, like land or slam. I had all my spots picked out. I'm like, I don't care what happens. I'm going for it for this video.
It's a bad.
And most of the stuff worked out, but towards the end of the trip, I ended up getting destroyed on that curved handrail that
oh yeah, that
I-
one, yeah.
made its way online, and then people,
Viral.
Yeah.
Viral.
that was
so gnarly.
that was some heavy slamming. But I was ready. I was going into it with the mentality like, okay, I know that I'm gonna feel some pain. Like we were talking about at breakfast, like going into like a situation where kind of like, okay, this is gonna
Yeah.
kind
This
of
is not
gonna
feel
suck.
good, yeah.
But
yeah.
the end result is gonna be pretty sick.
completely different subject, but it does work, yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about raising children and bike riding. But yeah,
So, and then the second part of his question, since apparently Jay was the only TM for Kink, who was your favorite Kink TM?
he's the only Kink TM I've ever known. So yeah, Jay's the man though. Jay's a good
Jay
dude,
is the
and you
man.
can even chime in. I mean, he's got a good eye for talent, and he's really fun to travel with.
And he always drives really well.
He always drives. Yeah, he makes it happen for us, dude. It's great.
He's so laid back. Like
Waffle House.
we were on a trip, and I think it was the trip I was just talking about. We had borrowed Zach's minivan, and we had a U-Haul on the back, and it was like he's got like 8 people in the minivan, and then the U-Haul's loaded up to the brim, and we're going up this hill, and he's got the gas pedal pinned, and we're doing like 70 I mean, because that's all we had. We're going up the hill, and smoke's pouring into the minivan. And he's just like this. He would put his head all the way back and just look out of the bottom of his eyelids. And I'm like, Jay, are you asleep? And he's like, no, man, what's going on? I'm like, dude, there's smoke pouring into the van. When you pull over, he's like, all right. Like, he was just so like casual about everything.
God, yeah, he is.
Never stressing. I was like, yeah, we'll get it done.
I lived with him for a year, basically.
Yeah.
Or maybe 2. I don't even know. Number 8. Well, not 8, but
What up, D-Man? Being that you and I got to work so closely together for Intervention, I was wondering what your favorite memory from all that was. Cheers, mate.
let's see.
Cheers,
Did you say
Oh,
cheers,
cheers,
mate?
mate.
Oh,
Cheers,
wow.
mate.
Speaking
Shout
your
out.
language,
Yeah,
huh?
he's getting a little Australian language.
He's appropriating you.
Favorite memory from filming with Dan for Intervention was, man, that was a really good experience, filming that. So shout out to Dan Collar for being easy to work with.
Dan's the man.
Probably
You filmed your whole section with Dan?
with
Is
Dan,
that-
yeah.
Oh, wow.
Because they
realize
kind of
that.
delegated,
They split it up.
like
yeah.
you would film a couple guys on the West Coast.
West Coast, Daryl was doing Austin, and then a little bit everywhere else, and then Dan was doing like the Rochester area, and
Oh, I
Yeah.
honestly didn't realize that.
it was kind of cool. That's why it worked. Like
So you
nice,
filmed
yeah.
the tree ride to invert.
Ooh, that was
Yeah, he
great
filmed that.
clip. The gap to manual on the hub in Rochester.
Well, that was clip number 1.
Really?
That was,
that was fire.
I
The
drove
big
up.
one,
Crazy,
the
yeah.
ledge, right?
The
Yeah.
sketchy run in too,
Yeah.
like the swoop.
Yeah.
Like that was, some ballsy shit.
I drove
So
up to
sick.
Rochester, and he's like, "There's anything particular you want to go take a look at?" I'm like, "Well, there's this ledge by the river. I think it'd be cool to like check that out." And he knew exactly what I was talking about. He's like, "All right, let's go." And we drove straight there, and I'm like, "Yeah, I was feeling it." I was like, "Set it up, let's do it." And
So sick.
yeah, one shot, one kill. And that's why I don't know if anyone remembers, but you see me like, I turn around and come back and I go, number 1. Because that was like clip number 1 we filmed.
Yes.
And when you can start a filming project with like
Something like
Yeah.
a
that.
heavy
yeah.
banger, you're like, okay,
That
we're
feels
up and
good.
rolling.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
like the best feeling.
Yeah.
Unlike when you're like, the video's almost done and you need like 5 heavy clips.
Yeah.
You're like, God, I don't have anything.
Stressing for it.
So that was probably my favorite memory was filming that clip.
Sick.
Because it was just like one and done, first clip.
Heavy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good way to start.
It's
man.
just the perfect way to start.
Yeah.
But Dan was really fun to work with on that, and like going on trips with him, knowing like because I think Dan's killing it right now, and I know it was probably hard for him a lot of times to put down the camera to film me, because we'd be at spots and I'd be like, man, Dan could probably kill this right now instead of filming me. And there actually was, I forget what the clip was, where he goes, Doyle, I know I'm here to film you, but I want to take a couple cracks at this rail real quick. Oh, actually, it was at Penn State. It was this huge kinker, triple kinker,
Oh, that's there, huh?
Yeah.
The one they did, yeah.
huge rail.
Yeah.
He's like, I know I'm here to film you, but I want to take a couple runs at this. I'm like, dude,
Hell yeah.
fucking do that. And like Ronnie Napolitan was with us, and I know Ronnie had tried that rail a couple times,
Oh,
and
wow.
he had never gotten it. And he was like, Ronnie, is it cool? And Ronnie's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like we want to see this get
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
That's a
And he-
big boy.
It was up like 5 tries, and he got it
Wow.
done. Ice picked the last part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Made that look
Yeah.
clean,
That's right.
casual. Looked like it was fun.
So that was a good memory as well.
That's sick.
2 memories.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
my
This one's
God.
good.
No,
This one's good already.
What's up, D-Man? Not too long ago, you had a famous cover at a famous LA ditch spot, and that's kind of related to my question. I'm no doctor, but do you think that your heart condition and your nickname BDD could possibly maybe be related? Because I mean, like if you're fueling a hog that freaking big, is that my boss? Oh no, my boss is coming. Where's my fucking hard hat?
Oh my God.
A crazy individual.
He is amazing.
Yeah.
He is amazing.
So how do you answer that one? I think the question was, is it related to your heart condition? Because if you're fueling a hog like that, ...
He makes a valid point. I mean, shit.
That was the cover bulge was a topic of conversation when that came out.
That's
So,
hilarious.
Yeah.
God.
don't even know how you approach that question.
Gosh, who do I have to thank for that? There's a funny story behind that, the Big Dick Doyle story. I don't even know if we have time to.
We're totally out of time. No. Go.
Well, no,
Wasn't it Miron that gave you that quote?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have to thank Canada for that because we were in town for. I got to thank my wife for that too. We were at the Toronto Metro Jam years ago, and they were having a video premiere afterwards. And the video premiere is being held downtown at an actual theater, like big theater. So of course, me and my wife show up late, and I'm like, oh, we need to get seats. And the lights were all off. We couldn't see anything. So the guy's like, someone's like, oh, they're going to turn the lights on. They're going to announce who the qualifiers were from today's qualifiers at the Metro Jam. And you can get some seats. I'm like, oh, cool. So we hang out for like 5 minutes. Lights come on. And we're like, holy shit. The theater's packed. There's no seats except for 2 seats right down front. So I'm like, Denise, let's start going. So we start walking down the aisle, and it's still kind of quiet. And some Canadian from the back goes, Chris Doyle's got a big dick. And you hear everyone kind of laugh. But then Denise turns around, acknowledges the guy, and is like, yeah, is like, yeah. And everyone's like, oh! Like, it's one thing if a crazy Canadian says it, but when a cute girl, like, acknowledges it, it's like, oh, shit. So that's not where the story ends. So we walk down, we get our seats right up front, and Miron was announcing the qualifiers at this point. And it's like, 3rd place is newcomer from New Jersey, Garrett Reynolds. 2nd qualifier is Josh Harrington. And I'd qualified first. So he goes, and your 1st place qualifier is this guy right here, Chris Big Dick Doyle.
Oh my God.
And the whole theater's like, oh! Like, dude, it was like the best 30 seconds ever.
That's amazing.
The best 30 seconds ever.
Well, because like with the crazy Canadian and the acknowledgement and then Miron. And so from that point on, everyone's like, and then
BDD.
A few months later, there was the Vancouver Metro Jam, and they hung from the judging tower a big sign that said Big Dick Doyle. So it had like followed me all throughout Canada. And then that cover comes out, and there's a bulge, and there it is. But in reality, I think for a white man with strong Irish heritage, I believe I'm average. So let's not.
Oh my God! Dispelling the myth.
Yeah.
I don't know how even I go.
The myth is still going to be around forever.
So yeah, believe what you want to believe. I mean.
Yeah, let it go.
Yeah.
Loch Ness.
Yeah. Extraterrestrial shit. We'll never know.
All right, so my question for Doyle is, so everyone thinks you're such a nice guy. Apparently you give a lot of shit. So I'm wondering, who on kink trips do you give the most shit to?
So there is a funny part about that, because he's asking about kink trip. Because of what happened on the trip, you forgot or you didn't know that Nathan was on kink for a little while.
When I woke up from being under anesthesia, mixed in with the concussion of smashing my face on the ground, mixed in with whatever oxygen loss I had to my brain, I woke up and I didn't remember shit. And so people are telling me all these different things, and I remember like, why is Nathan on the trip? And like, I had to sit there and think, I'm like, oh shit, Nathan rides for kink now. I'd totally forgotten that Nathan was on kink, and it was a big deal.
Yeah.
But as far as giving shit to people on trips, I don't know. I think I give
Hamlin? Maybe?
No, because
he would just give it back. You know,
Hamlin would like give it back and then like fart on your pillow.
Yeah.
Like some weird shit like
he'll
that.
get you back.
Like
Yeah.
he would go like cross that line.
Yeah.
So you never really wanted to give Hamlin too much shit. I feel like I give Jay a lot of shit. I think I was pretty nice to Nathan prior to the whole situation.
Yeah, you were.
But I like
you're strategic. You give it out at the right times to the right person, which is good. That's what you want. You want to disperse it evenly, and get everybody when they're like doing something they shouldn't be doing. Like I feel like that's when you step in and say 2 cents, and it's always funny. So
I like to have some fun with people,
Yeah.
and I mean, they're all good crew. Everyone takes it well.
Yeah.
But I definitely like to give people shit when it's so obvious.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like him dressing up as me.
Yeah, that was a funny photo.
So that's it for submitted questions. Does Calvin have a question?
I do have one question. I was at home the other day, watching TV, Papa John's ad. It looked like you, I couldn't tell, it was dark, but was that you doing a backflip in that commercial? Was it $11.95, hot and ready, what was it?
The $12.99 meal deal. And
Was it
yeah,
you?
that was me. I'm the mystery rider. I
amazing.
was in a full-on blacked out suit, and I was riding black ramps and hammering out some tricks.
How does that, just, one of those random...
Got a random. I have a friend that lives out in New York City, and she works for this production company. And she has another friend that works for a different production company, and he says to her, "Oh, I need someone that knows how to do some BMX tricks." And she's like, "I got your guy." So they called me up. They said, "Can you be here next week?" I said, "Yeah." They
Papa John's for life.
They had me and my buddy. We drove out from Pittsburgh, and they paid us a nice fee to film this Papa John's commercial.
Dialed.
It was nice. It was the most random thing ever, and it was great. We loved it.
Cool.
That's awesome. I
All
like
right.
that.
Well, I think we'll call it with that. Thank you. We laughed. We cried.
We cried, yeah.
It was a heavy one.
Got a little
so,
education.
Yeah. Thank you
Yeah.
for flying all the way out. I sincerely appreciate it. And
Happy
Calvin
to.
for driving down. So
Yeah.
Of course. Glad to see everybody
Yeah.
healthy. It's good. Great.
true.
Yeah.
Heavy.
Just for this thing, reuniting Calvin and I was worth the flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah. Been looking forward to
very
this
special.
for sure.
Cool. I'm glad.
Yeah.
It's sorry it had to happen kind of on camera.
That's okay.
Yeah.
No.
So
Not at all.
cool. Thank you.
All right.
Feeble Talk is back.
Thanks for watching.
Every other Friday, I think, is what we're doing for Feeble Talks. We're not going 4 a month anymore. We're
Yeah.
slimming it
Just
down.
slim it
So
down.
every other Friday, 10 a.m. Next week, we're filming these all out of order. I'll give the secret out. So this is the first one. Martinez will be next one, and then maybe for Nagel after that for everybody. So
Perfect.
thank you. Cheers.
Enjoy it.